My child, moments ago, an incident unfolded that was never meant to reach your eyes, yet it carries a meaning you need to grasp. 3 individuals were involved in a critical confrontation that concluded swiftly and decisively, closing a situation that had already escalated beyond control. This was not meant as a warning or a spectacle, but a necessary intervention after clear boundaries were crossed. Once the scene was secured and calm slowly returned, what was initially treated as a routine case took an unexpected turn. During the standard examination of collected materials, authorities discovered something that shifted the entire focus. Among various recovered items and documents were a series of personal photographs belonging to multiple women, representing different lives and backgrounds. However, one image stood out in a way that changed the tone entirely. It was yours. Your presence in that collection raised immediate concern, not because of anything you did, but because of what it suggested about prior attention directed toward you. This was not coincidence or harmless curiosity. It indicated a pattern of observation that had been building over time. Understanding this requires stepping back to when your name first appeared in unnoticed records, where patterns of monitoring often begin quietly, long before anyone realizes they are being watched. Those early traces were subtle, embedded in ordinary data streams that rarely draw attention unless someone knows what to look for. Over time, they formed a sequence that suggested deliberate interest rather than chance encounters. That is why this discovery matters now, because it connects past quiet signals to a present moment that can no longer be ignored. Everything is now shifting toward clearer and urgent understanding emerging, and that is exactly what happened here. Earlier that same day, the house looked ordinary, quiet, still. Nothing that would make a passerby stop or stare. Curtains drawn, no noise, no movement. But silence can be louder than sound when something is wrong. Officers already knew this would not end peacefully. They moved carefully, vests secured, weapons steady, every exit covered, front, back, side, even the narrow space behind the building where no one usually looks. A voice echoed through the air, firm and repeated, giving chances that would never be taken. Inside that house, 3 men listened. Fear filled the space immediately. Not guilt, not regret. Fear, the kind that makes people desperate. 2 of them understood reality. They knew it was over. They argued quietly at first, then louder. One wanted to surrender. The other begged for cooperation. They believed survival was still possible. But the third man did not want survival. He wanted control. And when control slips away, fear turns reckless. Without warning, without agreement, without thinking of consequences, he made a move that sealed every fate inside that house. He chose violence instead of surrender, and that single choice destroyed all 3 lives within seconds. When the response came, it was immediate. There was no hesitation, no confusion. The threat was eliminated completely, and when officers moved inside to secure the space, they expected to find the usual signs of criminal activity. What they did not expect was what waited below the house. As they moved downward into the basement, the air changed. A heavy presence, a smell that does not belong in a place meant for living. Instincts reacted before logic. Lights were switched on, and what was revealed confirmed the truth no one wanted to accept. This was not a small operation. This was not temporary. This was organized, planned, calculated, evidence of harm that had been prepared long before today. When officers returned upstairs, shaken but focused, the final confirmation came during the search. The images, the files, the patterns, and your picture among them. This is where your story intersects with theirs, not because you were involved, but because you were targeted. The man connected to your image was not a stranger, not someone from far away, not someone you would immediately fear. He was close enough to observe you without drawing attention, close enough to blend in, close enough to appear normal. And that is what made him dangerous, because evil rarely announces itself loudly. It hides behind familiarity. He watched quietly. He learned routines. He noticed details you never thought mattered. He collected information piece by piece, never rushing, never exposing himself. And you never knew, because you were never supposed to. But listen carefully, my child. This is not a message of fear. This is a message of timing. Because what was planned never reached you. What was imagined never touched your life. What was intended was stopped before it could take form. Protection does not always look dramatic. Sometimes it looks like nothing happened. Sometimes it feels like a normal day. Sometimes it feels like a delay, a change of plans, a sudden tiredness that kept you inside. Those moments are not meaningless. They are shields. You felt something recently, a heaviness, a strange awareness, a need to pull back. That was not anxiety. That was intuition, trying to keep you safe. Your spirit sensed something your mind could not explain yet. You were never alone in this. You were being watched, not by those who meant harm, but by forces that move before danger arrives. Intervention came early, quietly, completely, and now you are being told this not to scare you, but to teach you something important. Not everything that approaches you belongs in your life. Not every smile is safe. Not every opportunity is aligned. When something is meant for you, it will bring clarity, not confusion, peace, not fear, stability, not constant doubt. Stop forcing what feels wrong. Stop ignoring the signals your body and spirit give you. Those signals are not weakness. You are entering a phase of life where awareness naturally deepens and your ability to judge situations becomes clearer and more grounded. Things that once felt confusing or overwhelming start to make more sense as your mind settles into a stronger sense of balance. Instead of second-guessing your value or your sense of safety, you begin to trust your own perception more fully. Often, after a stressful or uncertain experience, the mind tries to downplay what happened, almost as a way of protecting itself. It may say it was nothing, or that it was all in your head, but that reaction doesn't erase what you felt in the moment. What feels like silence afterward is not emptiness, but the natural space where understanding slowly forms. Sometimes clarity does not arrive immediately because timing matters for emotional strength. Insight becomes most helpful when you are ready to hold it without being overwhelmed. As you move forward, you may notice that situations and people are easier to read, not because everything around you has changed, but because your perception has become sharper. Things that once felt uncertain begin to settle into perspective. Even past worries start to lose their intensity when viewed from a calmer state of mind. What is important now is allowing yourself rest and not forcing explanations for everything at once. Growth often happens quietly, without dramatic signals. With time, you realize that steadiness replaces fear, and understanding replaces doubt. What lies ahead is not something to be feared, but a more peaceful and confident way of experiencing life, where you feel more anchored within yourself and less disturbed by uncertainty around you. That is why your instincts felt confused. Your body sensed something, but your mind could not find a reason. There were moments when you felt tired for no clear reason. Moments when you canceled plans without knowing why. Moments when you chose to stay home instead of going out. Moments when you felt watched but dismissed it quickly. Those moments were not random. They were adjustments, subtle shifts that kept you out of reach without you even realizing it. You need to hear this clearly now. You were never powerless in this situation. You were protected before you were threatened, covered before you were exposed, watched over before you were ever watched by the wrong eyes. The timeline never belonged to him. It belonged to protection. When everything ended and the truth surfaced, it became clear that his intentions were not sudden. They were not impulsive. They were rehearsed in his mind, long before action could ever take place. That is why the ending had to be final. There could be no second chance, no escape, no continuation. This is why the situation did not unfold slowly. This is why it did not turn into a chase or a negotiation. Some paths cannot be allowed to extend. Some intentions cannot be allowed to breathe longer. And that is exactly what happened. Now listen closely, because this message is shifting from what happened to why it matters for your future. From this moment forward, your discernment will feel sharper. You will notice energy before words, intention before action, silence before explanation. Do not ignore that. Do not talk yourself out of it. You have been shown that your intuition is not imagination. It is awareness. When something is meant for you, it will not feel heavy all the time. It will not drain you emotionally. It will not keep you in a constant state of anxiety or confusion. You will not feel like you are always waiting for the other shoe to drop. Alignment brings calm, even when challenges exist. Stop trying to force connections that make you uneasy. Stop chasing situations that require you to ignore your inner warning system. Peace is not boring. Peace is safety. Peace is clarity. Peace is knowing where you stand without guessing. You are not meant to live your life looking over your shoulder. You are meant to walk forward with confidence. What tried to come near you has already been removed from your path completely. Not delayed, not redirected, ended. Your past chapters may include confusion, self-doubt, and moments where you questioned your judgment. Release that now. You are not naive. You are not weak. You were simply protected without needing to fight. Understand the power of your thoughts moving forward. What you consistently think about becomes the lens through which you experience life. If you constantly replay fear, your body will live in tension even when danger is gone. If you constantly expect loss, you will struggle to receive peace when it arrives. Begin choosing different thoughts intentionally, not pretending everything is perfect, but recognizing when you are safe, recognizing when something has ended, recognizing when a season has closed. You are stepping into a period where your mind becomes quieter, where your nervous system finally rests, where your decisions feel clearer, where you no longer feel pulled in opposite directions. This is not accidental. It is the result of alignment. There will be opportunities ahead that feel different. They will not rush you. They will not pressure you. They will not confuse you. They will feel steady, respectful, clear, and you will recognize them because your body will not tense around them. Let go of the belief that struggle is normal. Struggle happens, but constant chaos is not meant to be your baseline. You were not created to live in survival mode forever. The next phase of your life is about rebuilding trust, first in yourself, then in life itself. You got through an experience that arrived quietly, but could have easily overwhelmed you, and that alone is a reminder of how much steadiness already lives within you. There is no need to stay on edge now, because what felt uncertain has already moved behind you. What remains is not fear, but clarity, a quieter understanding of yourself and the world around you. Sometimes, life removes you from situations you were never meant to carry, not as punishment, but as protection that only becomes visible in hindsight. In moments like this, the mind often underestimates how much has been prevented, because absence of harm feels quiet, almost invisible. Yet that quiet absence can carry the same weight as something dramatic being stopped. Over time, you may notice yourself changing in subtle ways, choosing calm over chaos, clarity over confusion, and peace over unnecessary noise. This is not fear taking root, but maturity unfolding in its place. You may also find certain patterns becoming less appealing, especially anything that drains your energy or disturbs your inner balance. That shift is simply your awareness refining what it allows into your life. With time, this sense of grounding becomes stronger, guiding you toward what feels steady and away from what feels chaotic. What you are experiencing is not withdrawal, but realignment, a quiet return to what supports your growth without forcing you to constantly defend your peace. Over time, you begin to trust this inner recalibration more deeply, understanding that not everything demanding your attention deserves access to your energy, and that choosing simplicity, stability, and emotional ease is not distance from life, but a healthier way of living it. Over time, unfolds. This is not you becoming cold. This is you becoming clear. Your system is recalibrating. Your mind is learning what safety actually feels like. And once you experience real protection, you can no longer romanticize instability. There were moments in your past when you blamed yourself for trusting the wrong people, staying too long, ignoring signs. Release that blame now. You did the best you could with the awareness you had at that time. Growth is not about shame. It is about clarity. From this point forward, your boundaries will feel stronger, even if you don't announce them. You will simply stop engaging where your energy is not respected. You will stop explaining yourself to people who benefit from misunderstanding you. You will choose distance without guilt. And here is something very important. Not everyone needs to know what you've survived. Some people only deserve to see who you've become. You are not meant to live cautiously forever, but you are meant to live consciously. Awareness does not limit you, it protects you. And protection gives you the freedom to move without fear. Your future connections will feel different. You will recognize safety, not by excitement, but by calm. Not by intensity, but by consistency. Not by promises, but by behavior. And your body will respond before your mind does. Trust that response. Opportunities will also change. You will be drawn to paths that feel stable, grounded, and aligned. You will stop chasing outcomes and start choosing environments. You will understand that where you place yourself matters as much as what you do. There is also healing happening in you right now, even if you cannot fully name it yet. Healing from hypervigilance, healing from overthinking, healing from the need to always be alert. Your nervous system is learning that it is safe to rest. Sleep will feel deeper, breathing will feel easier, thoughts will slow down. These are not small changes. They are signs that your body recognizes safety again. Do not rush this process. Do not force yourself to move on. Integration takes time. Strength grows quietly. Remember this: what was meant to harm you was removed completely, not postponed, not redirected toward someone else, ended. That chapter has no continuation. Now your responsibility is not to look back in fear, but to move forward in wisdom. Pay attention to how you feel around people. Pay attention to what drains you and what restores you. Pay attention to patterns that repeat and ask yourself why. Awareness is your new protection. You are entering a season where your life becomes simpler, not because it lacks depth, but because it lacks unnecessary weight. You will choose peace without apologizing. You will choose yourself without guilt. You will choose clarity over confusion every time. And the most powerful part of all of this is that you do not need to announce these changes. You do not need to explain them. Your life will speak for you. Rest in this truth now. You are safe. You are watched over. You are moving forward with unseen support guiding every step. My child, now that your spirit has settled into the truth of what was prevented, there is a deeper layer unfolding inside you. Protection does not only remove danger, it reshapes direction. It quietly redirects your future without asking for permission. And that is exactly what is happening now. You may not notice it immediately, but your priorities are changing. Things that once felt urgent now feel unnecessary. People you once felt an urge to impress or accommodate don't seem to influence your emotions the way they used to. Situations that once pulled too much from you now feel uneven, almost draining in hindsight. This shift is not about disinterest or detachment, but about something quieter and more important taking place within you. A sense of clarity is settling in. You are becoming less tolerant of confusion and emotional unpredictability, and more naturally oriented toward what feels steady and grounded. Your inner system is beginning to recognize what genuine safety feels like again, and it no longer confuses intensity with meaning or depth. There is a subtle but powerful understanding forming inside you. Not every overwhelming experience is valuable, and not every calm moment is empty. Calm, in fact, is starting to reveal itself as something structured, stable, and deeply nourishing, rather than dull or unexciting. What you are calling peace is actually alignment. It is the absence of constant internal alarm, the quiet confidence of not needing to anticipate every possible disruption or emotional shift. In this space, your judgment becomes sharper without effort, and your awareness begins to notice imbalance before it fully unfolds. Instead of over-explaining or second-guessing what you feel, you will begin to step back naturally when something doesn't sit right. This is not withdrawal born from fear, but a refined sense of self-respect and understanding. You are not closing yourself off from people or experiences. You are becoming more intentional with where your energy goes. As this shift continues, it is natural that some connections fade without resistance, simply because they no longer match the direction you are moving in. Not because of conflict, but because alignment changes connection. Some people can only meet you where you were, not where you are going. Let them go without resentment. Release does not require explanation. Your future is not asking you to be smaller or quieter. It is asking you to be clearer. Clear about what you accept. Clear about what you tolerate. Clear about what you deserve. You are not here to survive endlessly. You are here to live steadily. The coming season will feel different because it is built on a new foundation. You will make decisions from a place of calm instead of urgency. You will choose relationships based on consistency instead of potential. You will move toward opportunities that feel supportive instead of draining. Your mind will begin to rest more often. Thoughts that once raced will slow. The constant need to analyze everything will ease. This is your nervous system learning that it does not need to stay on guard anymore. Trust this process. Do not rush yourself back into noise just because silence feels unfamiliar. Silence is where clarity grows. You are also being taught something else now. You do not need to know every detail of what was prevented to honor the protection that occurred. Some truths are not meant to be revisited. They are meant to be released. Your responsibility now is not to look back in fear, but to walk forward in awareness. Live attentively, not anxiously, mindfully, not guardedly. There will be moments ahead where you are tempted to ignore your intuition again. Do not do that. The same inner voice that kept you safe before will guide you again. It does not shout. It nudges. Listen to it. Your life is entering a phase where stability becomes normal, where peace is not rare, where joy is not followed by fear. This is not coincidence. This is alignment catching up with you. You will still face challenges. That is part of life. But you will face them grounded, not shaken, aware, not blindsided, strong, not reactive. And one day, you will look back at this period and realize that something invisible changed everything, that what did not happen was just as important as what did. Rest now in this knowing. You are safe. You are guided. You are moving forward on a protected path. My child, this is where everything comes together, not as fear, not as shock, but as understanding. What you went through, without knowing, has already shaped who you are becoming, not in a way that hardens you, but in a way that strengthens you quietly. You were protected, yes, but more than that, you were preserved. Your future was kept intact. Your path was guarded. Your peace was defended before you ever had to defend yourself. That matters more than you realize right now. From this moment forward, your life will no longer feel like a constant test of endurance. You will begin to notice more space between problems, more breathing room, more moments where things simply work instead of falling apart. That is not luck. That is alignment. The next months ahead are about rebuilding trust, not in others first, but in yourself, trusting your instincts, trusting your timing, trusting your decisions without over-explaining them. You will stop asking everyone for confirmation and start feeling confident in your own knowing. You are also stepping into a season where your value becomes clear to you, not because people suddenly praise you, but because you no longer need that validation to feel secure. You will know who you are, what you offer, and what you will no longer tolerate. Peace will become your standard, not a reward you have to earn. Opportunities will show up that feel different from the past. They will not rush you. They will not pressure you. They will not make you feel anxious or small. They will meet you where you are and respect your pace. Choose those. Choose what brings stability rather than what burns brightly and fades quickly. As life continues to unfold, your connections naturally rearrange themselves. Some relationships will grow stronger because they are built on trust, honesty, and emotional safety that hold steady over time. Others will slowly drift away because they were never rooted in balance, clarity, or mutual understanding. Allowing these shifts to happen is not a loss, but a quiet redirection, creating room for connections that genuinely support the person you are becoming. There is no need to revisit past outcomes or replay every detail in your mind. That chapter has already served its purpose and no longer needs your attention or emotional return. What concluded was meant to conclude, and what remained was only ever meant for a certain phase of your journey. Now your energy is better spent in the present, where life feels less like defense and more like experience. You can enjoy simple moments without expecting disruption, express happiness without waiting for it to disappear, and rest without carrying invisible weight. These are not privileges to earn but natural reflections of inner restoration. What aligns with you will never require fear, pressure, or self-neglect. It will not arrive through confusion or hidden corners, but through clarity, ease, and openness. You will not need to pursue what is truly meant for you. As your inner world becomes more settled, your thoughts grow quieter, your emotions soften, and your direction becomes clearer. Challenges will still come, as they do for everyone, but your responses will rise from awareness instead of alarm, from steadiness instead of chaos. This new phase is no longer centered on survival but on understanding, balance, and quiet peace. You are stepping into a life that feels clearer, safer, and more aligned with your true self.